And we're rolling in again. This time, we're talking about Carlicia, who will be changing her surname to Hoodrich mighty soon. If you don't remember, just a few days ago, Carlicia wandered into a hot dog stand that they were calling a restaurant on some broadcasts and in some of the reportage, where she got into an argument, this one Carlicia, queen that she is of South Side of Chicago, with one Jeremy Brown, who I believe probably she had altercations with in the past. She had her firearm or some other firearm. Some news sources are saying that it was an illegal firearm, a different firearm, and some are saying that it was her firearm that somehow she was allowed to have in the city of Chicago and conceal carry. Something that, of course, you and I would not be allowed to do, no matter what happened to us in the city of Chicago. Well, she wandered into this hot dog stand / restaurant where she had a big chip on her shoulder, and she got into a big argument with Jeremy Brown. And in the video, Jeremy is saying to her, get your food and just get out. Just get your food and get out. And she won't do it because she had, according to news sources, texted her son, her 14-year-old son, in the car and said, get the gun out of the glove box, which I wonder if this is a concealed carry license that she has, if she's allowed to carry the gun in the glove box. Yet again, a question that police and media are not going to be asking as they would with you or me. But she said, get on in here with that firearm. And so he did, as his mama told him. And she continued to antagonize Jeremy Brown, and to the point where he eventually punched her in the face, at which point the son dutifully blazed away on Jeremy Brown. And as he staggered out of the hot dog stand, at least according to reportage, as he staggered out, Carlicia was yelling, shoot him again and kill him, shoot him again and kill him. Well, the son obeys, the 14-year-old obeys, shoots him dead right there in the parking lot. And then Carlicia, according to the reportage, said, now kill the witness, shoot the witness. And the son wouldn't do it, which of course demonstrates that he knew exactly what he was doing. The mother then attempted to take the firearm away from the boy, according to the reportage, and he refused. He pushed her away, would not allow her to also kill the witness. Carlicia and the son then sped away. Did they have their hot dogs with them? I don't know. They may have gone hungry, at least for 30 or so minutes, until they found another hot dog place, at which point I'm sure they immediately sat down and had a meal as though nothing had just happened. However, the police came and arrested Carlicia and her son, and she was initially charged by a corpulent woman white woman working in Chicago, the Chicago government, city government. And then, of course, the mob, as we are now at mob rule, if you'll watch my previous Roland Short on this, these charges were immediately dropped. And where are we now? Well, Carlicia Hoodrich is suing the city of Chicago.
4 hours after charges were dropped against her and her son.
That is 24 hours, she said, within 24 hours.
Carlicia Hood has filed a lawsuit against the city of Chicago and the 5 officers involved in her arrest. Attorneys saying that police had all the evidence they needed from the very beginning to know that their client was not guilty of the first-degree murder charges filed against her.
Well,
Flanked by her 2 attorneys,
apparently, according to the reportage again, I haven't seen the actual text messages, but she told her son to bring the firearm in to the hot dog eatery, where she continued to inflame an altercation with Jeremy Brown. Now, if I did that, if I was in a hot dog stand and I was having an argument with someone, and I texted someone in my automobile and I said, come on in, bring my gun, or bring in your gun, whoever this gun belonged to, bring that gun in here. We're going to settle this once and for all. If I did that, that would be first-degree murder. That would be me absolutely saying that I believed that we were going to kill this person that I was continuing to inflame the argument. You all know this very well. The police would have come out. They would have charged me as hard as they could. And I'm not even addressing yet the fact that if I had followed after my friend or son or whatever it was had shot this Jeremy Brown, me being in the place of Carlicia, if I had followed them out and said, keep shooting him and kill him, that certainly would be murder for me. Of course, the media, the police, they would have said, it was your duty to run away from Jeremy Brown when he decided to do whatever, maybe take my hot dogs, maybe take my fries or whatever else they serve you there with the cockroaches. They would have said it was your duty to pay him, your duty to pay for his meal and to turn over your food to him and whatever else he might have wanted. You should have just retreated. You are a white male. You should have fled the scene. That was the only right thing to do. And if Jeremy Brown was punching me in the face and maybe saying even that he was going to murder me, even if I had a firearm on me, they would have said, oh, it was still your duty to get away because all he had were his fists, which, by the way, people are able to kill with. But no, they decided they were going to drop these charges of first-degree murder, just by the way, and whatever else they were charging him or were not charging her with. I mean, what are some questions here? Like, what gun was this? Was this actually Carlisha's gun, or was this an illegal gun, as some outlets have reported? And why aren't the media, these are sort of rhetorical questions, and the police investigating this firearm? Carlisha has supposedly a concealed carry permit. Does that permit her to carry a firearm around in the glove box of the car? Probably not. She's probably not allowed to do that. Are the police and the media investigating this? No. Are the police and media investigating the application that she filled out to get a concealed carry and to buy a firearm? Had she lied on any of those applications? Is it possible that Carlisha has a perfectly clean, stainless background? And if she had lied to purchase the firearm and lied to get the concealed carry, well, then that would be, of course, a serious offense. That another one that they're not going to charge her, that they would a white man or white woman in her stead. What about the fact that she has a firearm in the presence of a child and ordering the child to do something aggressive with the firearm, this 14-year-old young man? Where is CPS? Why Child Protective Services? Why aren't they being called? What about this not being investigated by the police and media? What about this? Is it possible that the 14-year-old son also has a stainless, perfect record? He's never been arrested. You know, it's entirely possible that if he had been arrested, and depending on the times and depending on the types of crimes, he might not have been allowed to be in the presence of a firearm. And that, of course, would be the blame and breach of law of Carlisha Hoods, if that had been the case. But of course, that's not going to be investigated or even questioned, is it? Why no investigation into the gun license? Why no investigation into the driver's license? Police and law enforcement are not investigating whether or not she even has the right to drive. She got there in an automobile. They would certainly investigate me and any other white person who piloted an automobile up to this wonderful hot dog stand. Why are there no investigations into her background and to possible connections to Jeremy Brown? Have they had arguments in the past? Is this some sort of a vendetta where finally she had to back down every time? And finally today, because that would surely be premeditation. And then finally today, she was going to put him in his place because she had it all set up and she was going to bring her son in with the firearm to do what he knew mama wanted him to do with that. What about their potentially ongoing spat that was finally settled with this blood vendetta? Where are the interviews by the police and the media of Jeremy Brown and his family and their loss? Well, the mob says that it's okay. It's a-okay when this Carlisha and her son gun this guy down in cold blood after she antagonizes him to absolutely do the wrong thing, which is to punch the shit out of the Queen Carlisha Hoodrich, her new surname to be. And why are there no arguments against the right to self-defense? Where is this anti-white hue and cry about how evil it is for people to have a firearm when all that needed to happen was that Jeremy Brown on video coming as a regular to this hot dog stand needed to be arrested by law enforcement and carted off to jail and punished with a punishment that is commensurate with physical assault punching the Queen Carlicia in her face. No, they're nowhere to be found. Suddenly, murder is okay when it's not a white person defending themselves and it resulting in murder. It's interesting how these things play out.
35-year-old Carlicia Hood broke down this morning, clearly overwhelmed by the events of the last 9 days.
I just need a little time to heal and to just get my life back with my baby.
Hood was released last night from Cook County Jail following.
She's such a good mom. She's going to get right back with her baby that she ordered to carry a gun into a fist fight for her. Good mama.
A 6-day imprisonment on charges of first-degree murder and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. This after, on the night of June 18th, she was involved in a verbal altercation with 32-year-old Jeremy Brown while picking up a food order at a Maxwell Street Express restaurant in West Pullman. The incident, which was captured on both the restaurant surveillance.
And you all know the rest there. The rest of the story is that this is happening and can happen. And now Carlicia Hood is going to change her name to Hood Rich because she's suing the shit out of the police officers and out of the city. And she will walk with it. Now, I know there's a possibility here because they just dropped the charges. They decided not to charge, that they could charge again and potentially then be able to obviate the lawsuit. But what do you think the odds of that are? All of that is possible. You will see Carlicia Hood Rich rolling down your neighborhood if you live in Chicago, but you'll see the Carlicia Hoods in your neighborhood rolling down the street in beautiful Mercedes-Benz or big, beautiful cars with big money while you work your ass off to get by. And that's going to be possible because of white erasure. This is not an accomplishment of people by their merits and good deeds. This is anti-whiteism. This is violence. This is murder. This is bloodshed. And if we don't recapture our destiny, it'll be your victimization.